Read the word!
I would immediately fold and be like, yes, absolutely, let's fucking murk these roos. I'm on your side, and I want my own little dwarf helper, too. I doesn't have to be Mudflap, but if it's someone like Mudflap, that'd be super fucking cool.
That's not fun anymore. They're going to prom with your sister. You know nothing's gonna happen.
I'm not a Nazi hunter. I'm a Nazi killer.
So you're trying to tell me that all these deaths are accidental? Must think we're all idiots here or something.
Hey, we're back. And it wasn't me who picked the movie this time, so you can't blame me for anything we're about to talk about. This was all Paul. This was all him.
Yeah.
This was all Paul.
He said a year ago, I'm going to make you watch bad movies. And I said, oh, have I got one for you? Yeah.
Indeed, he had one for me.
So bad, so he's been putting off watching this for a year. Okay.
It's a movie I'd seen like one time before now, and after rewatching it, I get why I never went back to double check anything about this movie. Oh my god. So, going back to the 80s, let's start there. So, why don't we set the tone for you all, shall we? Like, before this movie, there were Stephen King adaptations, and there were some really good ones in there, like Salem's Lot or The Shining, and you were like, those are doing pretty good. And then 1987 came, and someone went, I got an even better sequel idea. And boy, were there some notes I found out of this movie just shouldn't have been fucking made.
No.
God.
Now, but real quick, just to remind a little bit of background. The movie Salem's Lot, the up till a few years ago, the only adaptation of Salem's Lot was the David Soul miniseries from 1980, whatever it was, early in the 80s. I don't remember how early. And it was good.
485.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's a decent made-for-TV miniseries.
It is. It's very good.
And it's still better than that crap that they put on Netflix or HBO or whatever it was last year. That adaptation was just awful. Okay, I'm just no. Find the David Soul one and just put up with it being a TV movie and go, okay, it's a TV movie, so I can accept the fact that there's very little blood, very little gore. Okay, whatever. You know, so yeah, go back and watch that one. Don't watch any of the other shit.
So with that, in case you haven't, if you don't, follow us at Oddcast N or Oddcast Network on any of your social media platforms, whatever, or at What an Oddcast on TikTok, because I was posting about this for a while, that season 5 was going to start recording, and we had a really bad movie in store. We're doing a return to Salem's Lot, and God, I wish they didn't ever go back. God, I wish.
You actually wish the vampires would win at some point over there.
I wish they would have so bad. It would have probably would have made this movie better if it's just everyone died. So first off, the director, Mr. Larry Cohen, I looked into what he'd done before, and he's done some like cult classic where like they're not big name movies, but people into like indie horror in the 80s have heard of him because he did the original stuff in 1984 and he did Q the Winged Serpent in 1982. Past that, I hadn't seen anything else he'd done, but those were the two where I was like, those are considered like cult classics. All right.
I was going to say stuff I actually liked even when I was a kid in the 80s. Stuff was cool. Basically, when yogurt goes really, really bad.
Somehow. Same guy. So let's start here with the background that I have, because there's one note in particular that I was like, wow. I'll start with the minor one. I say minor, but I believe Paul has actually met this person at a con. This was the movie debut of Tara Reid. She's the little girl in this movie. I'm sad this was her first movie because, God, that might explain some of the things she did later in her career. If we're gonna be real honest, if you were in this, there's no bar lower. There's nothing you can't do.
No, because she had gone later. She did some sci-fi originals that you love. So
hey now, hey, I never liked it. Here's the thing, folks. I'm doing all the sci-fi stuff right now, but I never liked Sharknado. So let me just put that out there. I never got on board with Sharknado. I never got into them. I get the idea behind them being a dumb B movie, whatever, but like I just couldn't. I was like, this might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. So I never watched it. But if you enjoy it, I get why. I enjoy other dumb things. But so this was the note that broke my brain. So Larry wrote the original script for the first Salem's Lot. The script was rejected as, quote from the producers, the worst script I'd ever read. And so they denied him doing Salem's Lot, the TV series. And then he came back and he's like, hey, remember that script you said was really bad? The worst thing you've ever seen? And they went, all right, you can do a return to Salem's Lot. It did so bad, it was only in theaters for 1 week and was pulled out to never see the light of day, other than if you found the VHS copies, because that was the only way to watch it at that point. And let me quote Mr. William Thomas, who reviewed the movie when it came out to theaters. This was offensively bad in every department and should be left to rot in a vault somewhere. And I can't agree more. This was
I believe bad. I believe he actually attempted to end his life after watching this movie. Right.
That's so dark. I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, Return to Salem's Lot. This movie was. I get some of the ideas in it. My problem with it is there's movies that would come much later that take some of the ideas here and they just do them so much better because they just have a better story. Like we covered it with Oddcast. We covered it a couple years ago through Oddtober, but we did Daybreakers, which Daybreakers takes some ideas that were in this movie, but it did them so much better because overall the movie just had a clearer idea of what the fuck it was doing. And this movie doesn't have any idea what it's doing the entire time. I hated it so much.
No.
So, starting right off the bat with this movie, I thought I was watching the wrong movie when it started. I'll be totally honest. Because it opens up with our main character, Joe. He's like filming some like lost tribe somewhere in South America. And because it's a ritual of a dude getting killed, my brain went, isn't this like the Howling 3 or 4 with the marsupials? That one was really... Am I watching the wrong movie? This is like the same opening. Like... I thought I was in for a bad time, and then I was proven that I was in for a bad time. But yeah, so I thought it was a Howling movie because they do the very similar thing to open. But yeah, so he's filming. It's a dude getting murdered. His like cameraman wants to stop them because he's like they're murdering him, and he's like, no, this is a tribe. We just have to feel how they feel. I don't have a soul and can watch this man get brutally murdered because. Not my problem. Just not my problem. I'm not the one dying.
Hey, strictly a documentary film crew. They're not supposed to get involved with what's going on. That's just
correct.
The rules of documentary film crews, you know.
I mean, that is true, but I also feel like there's got to be some kind of ethical line of watching a man get disemboweled and video. I think that counts as snuff, no matter how you cut it. So,
now,
I don't think you could film it.
There's a movie that actually explained that and did that to comical effect. Have you ever seen the movie Drop Dead Gorgeous?
That sounds familiar.
And I think it's
Sounds
Will
really
Sasser, one of
familiar.
those guys, plays a slow guy, and his shirt gets caught in the car door, and he's trying to get out, and he's trying to walk away from the car, and he can't get out. And they put a note on the screen that said they're not going to be filmed to it. They're not allowed to interfere.
Yeah, I knew. Okay, I knew that sounded familiar. But luckily for them, there's people who come and get them, and they like shoot a gun. They scare away the tribe. Joe gets super pissed because he'd worked super hard to get into the tribe to video all this. But again, you still wouldn't be able to distribute it anywhere. So I don't know what the point of that would be. But they just tell him he has a family emergency, and something about his son, and they won't tell him what. So then he gets taken back down river, and he calls his wife. I hate that. I hate this whole setting up premise so fucking much. So you may be asking, what's wrong with his son? Does his son have cancer? Is his son dying? Was there an accident? No. The mom's just really rich, and she doesn't want to be a parent. So instead of being a parent, she just calls his dad and is like, take him with you. He's a troubled child. Newsflash for everyone at home. There's nothing throughout the rest of this movie that says this kid's any more troubled than just nobody's disciplined him his entire life. He doesn't burn things down. He doesn't go out of his way to destroy anything. He just curses like a sailor and occasionally smokes a cigarette. And it's like, you know what would fix that? Just actually disciplining your child. Which gets proven towards the end. And it's so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Oh. So, oh yeah. I hate both of his parents. Joe, he's like a pushover for a father. And again, the mother's just a rich, stuck-up person who doesn't want to be a parent. And I have in my notes, what the hell is this script? Because as they're driving, his son Jeremy just keeps drops F-bombs about things and like just swears. And I'm like, who wrote this?
Fuck you! You're not my father any more than the other 3 or 4 clowns have been hanging around. I like some of those guys better than I like you.
I can take the criticism, but leave out the fuck you, okay?
Shit, how I hate being a fucking kid. Always being shuffled around. I just wish I was grown up already.
I think that's his way of showing how bad the kid was, you know?
There's even a comment on IMDb about the kids swear more than the adults in this movie, and that's not an exaggeration. Ooh. The kids drop F-bombs like it's nothing, and the adults are like, oh, you gosh darn kids. And I'm like, what is this movie? What are we watching? Oh, and he lets the kid drive. Because why not? Which, have I done it? Sure. When Grandpa wanted to go run somewhere, you sit on his lap and he lets you steer. But this is just straight up, Jeremy can't really see over the steering wheel, and his dad is just like, you go ahead and take the wheel for a while. And you see him just like, I was like, what?
It's 80s countryside. We all, I probably would have been driving at a young age in that point in the 80s.
I mean, there were times where I drove, but a lot of it was like field work. You drive the truck because no one's around, or like with Grandpa, it was take back roads. But also I could understand if he drove a little bit, but he makes him like drive most of the way to Salem slot, and then he like keeps swapping on and off with him later in front of cops, and I'm like, is no one gonna step in and be like, that child shouldn't be behind the wheel?
You have to realize, include when this time period when this movie takes place, and when I was growing up, it was possible to like send your kid to the corner store to get your pack of cigarettes and your bottle of booze.
That
the store
ended.
Knew you, yeah.
They stopped doing that right when I was a little kid, because I remember when I was like 4 or 5, I was still able to go inside for my mom and get her cigarettes, and then that slowly started to change. So yeah, that's your introduction to these characters. But Joe brings up he had a family friend who he called an aunt who had a place out in Salem's Lot. And you may be saying to yourself, this is a return to Salem's Lot, so surely it's going to mention something about the first movie, because it would be ridiculous to not acknowledge the first movie.
That's not a story you would tell. I mean, come on.
If you had any hopes that they were going to say a goddamn word about the first movie, or Orlok, or anything... That movie just doesn't exist. It never happened.
Wouldn't say anything about the head vampire. Now they could have mentioned the father and the son, and said, there was this guy, this writer who was here for a while with his kid, and they left town a little while back, But
some of the most deceptive marketing was with this movie, because the cover to this movie is like the same thing as Salem's Lot. It has Orlok and everything in the back going over the town. You know who's not fucking in it?
Orlok's not in this
That
movie.
character's not in it at all.
Not at all. No.
So deceptive. So they get to the house, or well, they get to the town. They get gas. We meet the gas station attendant, but he's like super weird. Like, he doesn't really say anything to him, and he like keeps staring at Jeremy super creepily. And then to really carry home, this movie's gonna have a creepy undertone at points. There's just a bunch of whispering in a house about Joe's back, and he has a child. Who's Joe? Apparently they all know him from the first time he was here as a kid. But again, we've never fucking heard about any of this. This movie doesn't make sense. But anyway, they fill up on gas. They drive up to the house that he got, and of course it's an absolute wreck that they're gonna have to do work on. But they're immediately met by cops, and they're the most standoffish cops you've ever fucking seen, where they're just demanding to see the deed. And then tell him, like, yeah, you get it from the judge in town later. Don't worry about it. We'll check to make sure you really own the property. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I know if I own property, I'm going to carry the deed with me wherever I go,
Yeah, because that's what you do. Apparently in this movie you do. You just carry it with you. Also, I want to point out, for the plot point that comes later about that aunt character, I don't understand this plot point, because they do something else to make Joe go to the judge. So what the point of this is, beyond me. And you'll understand, folks, when we get into it, of like, there's no reason for this scene, because there's a whole side plot they'll do to move things along. This means absolutely nothing, I guess, other than showing you the cops are kind of dicks. Past that, it literally serves no purpose.
Geez, small town cops that are dicks. Imagine.
Who would have thought? And then it just quickly cuts. Like, it is so jarring to, like, it suddenly just, or actually no, before we do that, we only get one little thing, which is Jeremy walking around the town, which is mostly just farmland. He hates it. He goes into the school. School's empty, but he gets jump scared by a random dude, which is in the trailer. And I don't understand this scene either, because it's just like, he doesn't try to grab him. He doesn't do anything. They're just, what are you doing in here? And then Jeremy runs away, and then he just mopes back to the basement or whatever. For the plot they give you later, just nothing about this early stuff makes sense. But anyway, he goes back to his house, and then we get the hard cut to night, and we get 80s hooligans driving around who get pulled over. And then this movie just hard cuts into, oh, hey, by the way, there's vampires, as they murder all of these hooligans.
Okay.
Like,
So
what is happening?
Here's my biggest thing that I've been talking about. This is my part. This is the part I've been talking to you about for a year. All these vampires are adolescents. Not only are they adolescents, they're all red-headed, fair children. Every single stinking one of them.
So, so the first vampires they show they're like the elders or whatever the town, but there's like 3 of them. They also show a vampire monster, and as I have in my notes, the most dollar store looking vampire mask and gloves you could have possibly thrown on someone. Oh my god.
Well, they had to pay a lot of redheads to do this movie. So.
Which they let one of the girls go, Sherry, and the what is it, or not the deputy, the sheriff or constable as he likes to be called, tells her she has to go to the church, she'll be safe, and then she has to go to Joe's house. They're the only ones who can help her, and this is all a ploy. They will bring it up later, which is why the deed thing about making him go to the judge doesn't make any sense, because they do this anyway. But then we get what Paul's biggest point is, because we get some homeless guys who are just at a campfire drinking, and they get surrounded by a group of ginger children for no fucking reason. There's also some terrible lines in here, because it's very much implied they were going to do something terrible to the first vampire kid, and then they get surrounded, and I'm like, well, if it's to make me not feel bad that they just got murdered, then I guess. But what the fuck is this scripting on this movie?
But and even I point out to him, the point being that like back in the 80s, all these soulless creatures, the vampires, are ginger, okay, which plays onto a stereotype that is a nasty, nasty stereotype that redheads don't have souls and they will steal your soul. So all the vampires are ginger, which is just
wow. He's not right. Like, all the other vampires are either really old, so they have white because they're old-haired, whatever.
Yeah.
There is only 2 people who are not old who don't, and that is Tara Reid and what is it? I have her name written up, but the one other girl that they introduced for Joe, because they're like blondes. Everyone else is ginger, and
they were probably strawberry, and they were probably strawberry blonde, and it just didn't show up that well on camera.
Correct. Tara Reid's the only one where I could be like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure she's a blonde, but anyone else that looks blonde, if in the right light you see the red in it, and you're like, oh nope, they're just strawberry ginger. Okay. So Sherry exits the church. She makes it to Joe's, and he takes her to Judge Axel, who's the leader in this town. And this is where this movie goes so far off the goddamn rails, because they show up, and this is where you're introduced to Amanda, played by a very, very young Tara Reid. I almost didn't recognize her until I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that's who she is. I thought she looked familiar, but like, she's really young. Holy shit. So they get introduced to her, which she takes Jeremy, and they run off into town. And then immediately, the vampires murder Sherry, and Joe's helpless, which he probably could have tried to help, but they just hold him back, and they're like, no, that's not for you to see. And he's like, they're murdering her in there, aren't they? Well, something like that. And that's the only reaction you get out of him. Past that, he's just like, okay, whatever. Like, I fucking hate this so much.
That filmmaker in him. Not my problem. Not my movies. Not my circus.
There's nothing more you can do for her, Joe.
They're killing her in there, aren't they?
Something like that. You recognized your aunt.
Clara.
One of us.
One of what?
You still haven't figured it out, have you, Joe? Mr. Professional Anthropologist. You have run across the oldest race in humanity, nestled here, quietly, amid the folks, protected by a skepticism that says they don't exist.
Vampires.
Speak it again, Joe. Vampires!
Hi there. We'd just like to let you know that this show is sponsored by W Energy. W Energy, the sugarless, all natural energy drink that you should be going and buying and using code Oddcast to help save yourself 10% off your next order. So go on over to W.com and use that code. Now on with the show.
It really is. So this is why I say this movie jumps off the rails.
So now, really, in real life, any sane person like me would be like, get back in the truck. We're leaving.
Yes.
Okay.
But
we have nowhere to go, but we're going away from here. Okay. That's just
now that's what a normal person would do. Now, instead, now you may be saying to yourself, with a vampire movie of this nature, if the whole town's clearly vampires, if they murdered that woman and all this stuff, clearly that, they're going to keep it a secret, whatever. Fun fact, they don't. In fact, Judge Axel just tells Joe literally everything. He just, expositions that they've been around for 200 some years in this town, and they've always done things this way. And hey, Joe, you're an anthropologist? Great. You're going to write a vampire Bible. Whatever the hell that means. And that's the end of that. And if Joe doesn't, they'll kill his son or turn him, which they already basically do anyway. This movie loses its plot and twists every little thing it's trying to do. But yeah, so Joe gets shown around the town. I even have it in my notes here. Want him to write the Bible on the town, but they tell him it won't release for another 200 years. But they want a credible source, and I'm like, in 200 years, who the fuck's gonna remember Joe? He's an anthropologist now. They don't write anthropologists down all over the history books. What the fuck are you even talking about? In 200 years, no one's gonna remember him.
When people talk about Jurassic Park, they don't talk about Dr. Grant. Okay, they don't.
They don't.
You could change the way outsiders feel about us forever.
A history?
A Bible.
See, you have what they call credibility. It's your profession to set down the ways of odd cultures.
You go on murdering passers-by, and I'm an accomplice? Yes, that's odd.
I've been explaining to you that our appetite doesn't extend to human prey. Except now and again.
They really don't. And Judge Axel shows him how they've been doing things, which is they don't feed on people except for a special occasion, which you'll see that there's 2 kids getting married. Amanda takes Jeremy to that ceremony, and you're led to a very awkward 2 vampire kids who are 10 years old getting married and set for life. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Again, what is this script? Oh my God. But he shows,
and why isn't Jeremy ever going, Dad, we gotta go. Okay, we just
he gets this boy saw Tara Reid around his age and went, Dad, I love it here. We need to stay. took nothing at all. She just batted her eyes and he went, okay. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But Joe's shown that they have dairy cows, but they don't raise them for milk. They use them for blood instead of people, apparently.
By the way, it would take a lot more cows than what they showed you to feed that town.
Oh, but, according to the movie later, they don't drain them dry. They replenish the blood, and I'm like, I don't think any of this is, a good, basis for any of this. So, yeah, he does that. And Joe's not entirely sure. He's not sold. So how do they say? He meets the woman, Clara, who used to be the woman that he had came to this town one other fucking time in his life, and they sent him away. He meets the girl that he fell in love with back then, and the creepiest dialogue I have heard yet in this movie. We're not even that far. We're maybe 10 minutes into this movie, and we're already going to hear one of the creepiest goddamn lines.
You haven't
Kathy.
aged today. No, I'm kidding.
Literally, like, they should, like, here's Kathy, that girl you fell in love with when you were, like, 10, and she goes, I remain 17 forever, just how you loved me, make love to me, and I went, what the what? Who looked at that and went, okay, that's a good line. No! That's not a line that should be here. I get she's a vampire, but...
I'm surprised they didn't start using she was... I'm surprised they didn't start using she was only 17 as a soundtrack at that point. Yeah. Yeah. 30 years ago.
Well.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was... that made my skin crawl, because I was like, that's not right. Even back then, that was a problem. I think I'm seeing now why people hated this movie. There's a dude in his 30s just making love to a 17-year-old, and that's really wrong.
She just looked 17. She was really much closer to 30. Yeah.
So the next morning, Joe talks about he's going to make them this Bible, and Jeremy tries convincing him that they're fine, that if they wanted to kill them, they do it at any time, but they're not going to. They don't feed on people. You know, except when there's a wedding, and then they make an exception, and then they murder some people. And then we'll see later in the movie, they actually don't really care, and they'll just murder people. So, what do? They don't follow their own rules, is what I'm saying. The only thing I will say for this movie, the only thing that was neat, it is the one thing I can say good about it. I searched through the whole movie to find the one thing.
The closing credits.
I like playing with the idea of vampire mythos. Like, they walk into the kitchen when Joe's originally talking to Axel, and he brings up, like, see, she's chopping up garlic. That doesn't actually affect us. And this mirror shows my reflection. That's all false. And I'm like, that's neat. The problem is, much like we talked about with the Fright Night remake, there's not enough things good to make that work. So the movie's still terrible.
And I guarantee you, the only reason they did the mirror thing is because the director couldn't figure out how to get the shot without the cameraman in the frame. You know. We keep seeing him in the reflection. Oh, fuck it, they can be seen in mirrors.
Just so dumb. So Joe starts working on this Bible, whatever the hell that is. I guess it's just the history of the town. I don't really know how that qualifies as a vampire Bible, but okay. Jeremy says
that we've been here for 250 years. Well, the oldest vampire is like thousands of years old, dude. He's gonna
see that's that's another thing. We're like, this year, right? So this year of our Lord, is now the 250th birthday of America. And even if you're saying it's when the Pilgrims came, I don't know how that maths up, because you can't say you were an original American town when it's like, America wasn't a thing when you say you got here. I think you mean you were just a settlement. Like, what is this script? They're older than what they say.
I don't recall, but I think Jerusalem's lot / Salem's lot was actually in the Pacific Northwest, if I remember correctly. It was one of his few stories that doesn't take place in Maine. I could look it up to see if it actually took place in Maine, but I think it actually took place in like Oregon or some such.
Oh, they make reference to all the Stephen King things there, because it's later in the movie. I know I don't have it in my notes of when it happens, but there is a comment later about how they're so rich, how they maintain the town, and they tell them that they've bought property, and they just name drop Maine. And I'm like, okay, gotta tie it into Stephen King. Gotta say you have property in Maine with more vampires.
Yeah, you think we're bad? You should see Derry. Holy shit!
Yeah, you should see this other town. So Jeremy's getting along with the kids. He's starting to change already, which I hate that he's like changing because nobody fucking bites this kid. He just starts hating the sunlight and staying up all night. And his dad, like, cuts himself, and he's like, ooh, blood. And I'm like, but you're not a vampire. Why is he changing into a vampire?
He was going through his goth phase. Leave it alone, all right, Dad?
I had to question it because I'm like, did they bite him? And then as the movie goes on, I'm like, no, he was never bit. He's just being a fucking vampire.
Maybe she gave him a hickey. Oh, I was wrong. It does take place in Maine, according to Co-Pilot, anyway.
Oh, yeah, see, I wasn't sure, but this movie didn't even film in the same place because he couldn't afford to film in the same place. So this is a completely different place he sets up and then just bullshits his way that it's the same, which, again, if you watch the Salem slot, it makes no sense that this is a sequel. So Joe gets invited to a class because Jeremy goes that they want him to go, and he sees that the vampires are taught basically anti-human propaganda for history of like humans are evil and bad, and us vampires are the only true good ones. And Joe makes a bunch of comments, so they ask him to leave. They get a little irritated with him. But this is where they bring up how Salem's Lot or Jerusalem's Lot came to be. And they say that they were on a pilgrim ship with the original pilgrims that came to the Americas. But they led them to believe their ship sunk because they would have crucified and witch hunted them, so they wanted peace. And I went, I don't buy that story to save your fucking lives. Like, what do you mean no one noticed another ship somewhere when they moved on? Did no one question where you came from when the others met you? Like,
well, actually, what they're talking about is something like, I think it's
based on a real ship.
Mutiny on the Bounty. They did that, I believe. They purposely they land and they purposely destroy the ship so nobody will come looking for them, and also they can't leave.
But that's like why I still question. Like, they know about the outside world, so like at some point other settlers moved through the area and built things around them. Did no one stop to question, like, where the fuck did you come from and why is there already an established town?
Well, especially if
you kill them all?
If they're in Maine, they would have run into some of the Indian tribes from Canada.
That's where it's like your story just doesn't
or the
fully
indigenous.
make sense.
Excuse me. I'm an old man. Indigenous. My bad. I apologize.
He apologized, folks. Get out of the comments. I see you typing. Get out of the comments. So at this point, Kathy takes Joe to the lake, and they go have more sex, because why not? Why not make this movie even creepier than what it already was?
But okay, now hang on. She's a vampire. It'd be literally temperature-wise and everything, like screwing a corpse. Okay.
Oh my God, this is the original Twilight, guys. I just pieced it together because it's the original Twilight. There you go, folks. You Twilight lovers, here's your original movie. Oh, you're 17? I'm over hundreds of years old. That's hot. Like, what is this concept?
But she wasn't. She was room temperature, all right?
What the fuck, Paul? Okay. Jesus. Joe gets taken away for that. Jeremy gets called back into the classroom, and he sits through that, which, again, he's going to keep turning into vampire, but not really a vampire. It's just a thing they keep doing here. Which they try to say it's like some kind of hypnosis much later into the movie, but I'm like, that still doesn't fully make sense the way you're doing it.
She gave him a hickey.
keeps saying it. Back at the house, this is where Jeremy tells him he chooses to be a part of the town because he doesn't see anything wrong with it. But Joe's like, yeah, that's great, son. You can make your own decisions. Hey, why don't you take this headache medicine? Yeah, it's an Advil. Just kidding, it's a sleeping pill. And then he throws him over his shoulder and makes a run for it.
Okay, so going by when this was made, they would have landed here in 1737.
Yeah, I still feel like there would have been people already established, but yeah, I don't know if that math's mathing up there, movie. It's almost like somebody should have taken a second look at what you were doing with this script. I'm just saying. But yeah, so he makes a run for it. Also, we find out earlier that basically all the normal people in the town, they call them drones, which
right, they would be basically like in Jerry in what's it called that you just mentioned earlier, Fright Night.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they'll explain a bit about how drones are made, and I still have a lot more questions than ever get answered by this movie. But they tell them that's basically what it is. They have the humans, the drones, to like watch over the town, keep things running while they're sleeping and whatnot. Kind of like having a guard dog. So it would literally just be exactly like that, having your own little assistant. So Joe gets captured. Joe and Jeremy. They separate Jeremy. They don't let him come back. Joe does kill one of the drones, which they still don't really punish him for because they think they can win him on their side. Judge Axel basically just talks about like, oh, he'll do the Bible and then he'll learn to love us. He won't see us as monsters. Totally won't see us as monsters, even though we murdered people. Totally will love us and join us. Because that's how that works. But he gets taken back to the house. And this is when, for the love of God, Joe comes to, and it's revealed that Kathy's pregnant. And that's when they reveal that's how a drone is made, is that one of the vampires sleeps with a human, and then it makes I guess, like a soulless human drone, because the undead
that's
giving birth to it, I guess.
That makes no sense at all. They shouldn't be able to get pregnant.
It doesn't make any sense, but that is the plot of this movie, is making him get Kathy pregnant so that he'll have to stay for the child, even though it won't really be human or undead. It's a drone, and I don't understand the concept. None of it makes sense.
It appears, Joseph, that young Jeremy is about to have a little brother or sister to keep him company. That's so, Catherine?
Yes, Mrs. Axel, our child. He'll grow up to love and serve us all his life. He'll protect our graves.
Because Paul's correct. If they've been dead for hundreds of years, you don't have eggs to get pregnant. The inside of your body is nothingness. So, like, I don't understand.
Well, plus don't have heartbeat. Their blood doesn't flow. Unless they're really breaking a lot of the rules.
Sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, they hold Jeremy as leverage. They won't let Joe see him until he finishes the Bible. Also, I forgot to mention, because this will come up later. When they're walking around town and they see the people feeding on the cows before they go to the class, they also run into an old man who's driving around, and he's looking for his friend, an old Dutchman who's gone missing. And they tell him he might want to clear out of town. This isn't the place for him, and his friend's definitely not here. Just keep going. This will come back.
By the way, I just want to throw. I just had a thought. If I was Joe at the point my kid was doing the shit his kid was doing and saying, I'll be like, "This boy ain't right. I'm leaving." You know,
this boy ain't right. And then just get in your truck and leave. You don't have a son anymore.
Yeah. We failed as parents, man. It's done, yeah.
Super fail. So yeah, this is where Joe goes walking around the town, and he just like clearing his head. He's been writing this Bible for them, and he's hitting a wall. He talks to the drone at the gas station, and he learns that they don't have feelings or thoughts. They just do as they're told. And he's like, "That's why we're the perfect servant for them. They'll inherit the earth." And Joe's like, "You're crazy. Get the hell away from me."
I've talked to some of them. They ain't meek. They ain't inheriting shit, okay?
Yeah, no.
They're kind of stuck up, actually. They kind of...
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. He goes through a field. He sees Jeremy, but then Jeremy disappears because Jeremy apparently just has vanishing powers. They don't understand this scene because Jeremy doesn't have powers, but he just poofs when he goes behind the hill for some reason. And this is where Joe going back into town, he runs into that lost driver again. This is when we meet Van Meer, and he's still looking for that friend, and he can't find him. And he's also very adamant about looking in basements and whatnot. But Joe knows that dark is coming, so he's like, "Why don't you just stay at my house? It's not safe to be driving around here at night." Avoiding telling him what's really going on. But it doesn't matter, because Jeremy shows back up at the house and tries to lure this old man to his death. And he's like, "Yeah, your friend, he's at the school. Yeah, that's him." Which Joe steps in and he's like, "Why are you trying to lead that man to his death?" And this is where you learn that all Jeremy needed was a little bit of discipline. Because he refuses to listen to Joe, and Van Meer just pinches him behind the neck and tells him to sit down. And Jeremy's character will never be the same. He will be a behaved little boy the rest of the movie. And I hate that so much. It's like, you guys suck at being parents. It took this man 2 fucking seconds.
Look at me. Look at me. Try what I'm doing. It gets their attention. Wash his mouth out with soap. Now you sit down. Say uncle! Say uncle!
Uncle!
Okay, now you stay. Yay! Goddamn kids. Hate these little puppies.
But this is where Van Meer reveals that he hunts Nazis. And the guy he's been looking for is an ex-Nazi that he wants to take out of the picture. And this is a subplot that's added. They could have just said he's a vampire hunter, but why not add this to add a complexity to a character in a movie that doesn't need it?
Shit, if I was Joe, I would have fed into it. Whole town's a bunch of fucking Nazis, man. Go.
Well, see, Joe does one better. Joe shows him the Bible and all the paperwork. And Van Meer goes, "Oh, all right, well, we're going to kill them all then." And he's like, "What?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, they're no better than Nazis. We'll just kill them too." And he's like, "What?" "Yeah, that's what I do." Which they do. They immediately try getting they go to the church because Van Meer brings up, even if they built it and never used it, by building it and never doing anything with it, they've made a sanctuary, because somehow the Nazi killer knows vampire lore really well. He's like, they can't come to hallowed ground. They built it. That was their mistake. It's a sanctuary.
A church in Salem Lot.
You mean a museum? They keep it there for appearances for the passers-by.
Doesn't make a damn bit of difference. As long as nobody desanctified it, it's a sanctuary. We'll barricade ourselves in, and in the morning, right after sunup, we'll attack. Get those son of a bitches while they're asleep in the coffin.
And I'm like, how do you know any of this? You just said you didn't believe any of this till 2 seconds ago.
And actually, that doesn't work anyway, because even by church standards, it's only a building until.
They never had a priest. They never held any service.
Yeah.
It's just a building.
Yeah, to bless it or to christen it or anything, yeah.
Exactly, which is what would make it a holy building. So movie's gonna movie, I guess, folks. They hide in the church and they start making stakes out of all the chairs and pews that are scattered around inside. And this is where Judge Axel just jumps the wagon of no human blood immediately. Because they stop a bus and they make everyone exit. And then Judge Axel turns to the church and he goes, "This is because you betrayed me and you're not writing the Bible. Now we're going to have to kill everyone." And I'm like, that's an over-exaggeration, my guy. What did they have anything to do with the situation? I think
they were just driving through.
Human blood.
I mean, they were just driving through, you know.
I think you just want to kill them, my sir.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think Joe influenced that at all. But okay.
It'd be like, if I was Joe at the, at that point, I would have said, "But didn't you already kind of violate your own thing where you, with the Nazi? Did you not eat the Nazi? Is he here anywhere? Did you?"
Exactly. Oh, so yeah, he murders them, and apparently puts a hex on them because Van Meer and Joe oversleep the next day, and Van Meer's just like, "He must have put a hex on us." And again, how the fuck does this man know vampire lore? I don't understand.
That's not even vampire lore.
It's not.
When you say hex, you mean the bottle of vodka you drank? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I don't understand anything about what's going on as far as that. But it doesn't matter because Joe and Van Meer just go murdering the town. They find all the vampires in their coffins and their basements and whatever. And they just start murdering everyone. And there's some neat things they do here as far as vampire design. Are they good? Fuck no. Everything looks cheap as shit. But I have a question. Why is there a John Carpenter's The Thing style vampire in one of the coffins?
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. Some of them are monster-ish, and one of them's literally like the dog from fucking The Thing. And I'm just like, what is that design? Why is he a monster? But they do that. They kill all the drones. They start killing the town. Jeremy gets lured off by Amanda, because again, he also questions why she's in the sunlight, and she doesn't answer this at all. She just lures him outside, and even I went, how? How is she standing outside I don't understand. He doesn't even understand.
Worker bees. But if she's one of the worker bees, she wouldn't have been able to hypnotize him or whatever to make him
exactly. So it's just like, what what the worst part about Amanda as a character is her death that comes at the end is one of the dumbest deaths I've ever seen. I can't wait to rip it apart when we get to it. So yeah, they start killing all the vamps, all the drones. They go to the main house, and Joe can't kill Kathy because she's pregnant with my child. Motherfucker, you already know it's not human. Like, what are you talking about?
It's a worker bee, baby. Just,
Like, you've seen what the drones are. What do you mean? So Van Meer's going to do it, but he goes into the basement, and he immediately gets bear trapped. Somehow he doesn't see the big bear trap at the bottom of the stairs.
Maybe he didn't look because, you don't expect that at the bottom of the stairs,
Maybe, I don't know, this movie just got a movie for the rest of this. Joe saves him. He throws holy water on the vampires that are trying to get him. They leave. We get the judge getting woken up.
Okay. I forgot about that. How the hell do you get holy water?
It has water in the church, I guess.
Has to be blessed by a priest. Okay,
that's how it's supposed to be. But movie just thinks that a church is just anything in there is a holy thing, apparently, because that's what movie does. So yeah, they do that. Joe saves him. They get out. The judge gets woken up and told that everyone's being killed. And the judge goes from caring about his town of vampires to literally just like, yeah, who gives a shit? They're all dumb and old anyway. We'll just replace them all. I'm like, what was the whole point of the whole rest of this movie? He doesn't give a shit at all. This movie doesn't make any sense.
Historically, we have historical that when everything starts to go to hell, the leaders turned their back on the people they claimed to protect and went, well, look, not on me. They didn't do what they had to do, so screw them.
True.
Literally.
True.
We have seen that throughout history.
I mean, this is very true. This movie just doesn't care to have anything really blend together and be like, this makes sense.
I mean, they already threw a Nazi at it, so what the hell,
So they find out that Jeremy's at the school. So they're like, well, how do we get him? So what do Van Meer and Joe do? They take the endless amounts of gasoline this gas station has, I guess. I don't know when the hell they've gotten a delivery for it, but apparently they have.
Well, because
and
they
start setting fire
like a real town. They seem to function like a real town. So I would guess that they do still get like deliveries and stuff. They come through town.
I mean, I suppose this movie really just jumbles through explaining anything.
Yeah.
Because even the money thing, it's like, oh, we bought property in these states, and I'm like, how? But how did you get? His question is, how did you get the money for that? Which you're not answering like at all. Like, well, okay, that's how you make money now, but like
because they're telling you we didn't kill anybody. What they really mean is we've killed a lot of people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or some of the people in town may be, they're vampires now. Maybe last week they were businessmen with a lot of money. Yeah.
That's probably more likely. It's just points I wish that they included in this movie, so I could be like, okay, I could believe that.
Maybe the drones have a day job.
I suppose so. So yeah, they set fire to the coffins and the houses, and then they go to the school. So here it's all a trap, and Judge Axel comes out and he goes, "We knew you'd come here," and he shows that they are going to put on the play of Dracula. Not really though, because they're just going to open the coffin to Jeremy's under a trance, I guess. Folks, I don't know. This movie just doesn't explain anything that's going on screen. Jeremy just can't get out of the coffin and thinks he's paralyzed and dead already. And the judge goes to stake him as like proof to Joe that he'll commit to it or whatever, I guess. And I like Van Meer. I like his character. I wish he was in a better movie so I could enjoy him more. Because this movie is, again, just so bad. But he tells Van Meer he's going to give him immortality. And Van Meer's like, the hell with you. I've already lived my life. And he shoots him twice in the face. And then when they come to him, he shoots himself with the gun pointed into his chest. And he shows up again later. Fun fact, spoiler, he's not dead. Doesn't make any sense when he shows up again later, because I'm like, we saw you shoot yourself in the chest. No.
You'll never make a bloodsucker out of me, you bastard.
The human took his own life.
You see that smoke? Do you know what's going on? The coffins are burning. Your very homes are burning. You have no place to hide. And when the sun comes up, you'll fry.
There's no smoke and mirrors. There was a pool of blood and everything. Like, what do you mean?
And he doesn't even scream, there can be only one. It's
So folks, you may be saying, well, this is like the end of the movie. Clearly there's like a big battle, right? No, Joe reveals that they lit all the coffins on fire on the bottom of the school. And Joe goes, see all that smoke? That's all your coffins burning. So you're going to burn with the sun now. And they get away. And I just went, not a single vampire tried to stop them? Like, nobody was like, out of the 30 of us in this building, not one of you tried to stop him from taking Jeremy and running? That was like the whole point of this entire movie. What do you mean? This is where we get one of the dumbest deaths I've ever seen. Because all the vampires are burning as they try to pull out coffins, which it's like, okay, they're panicking to save the coffins, sure. But Amanda just walks up to her coffin, gets in the burning coffin, and then it closes up on her just burning alive for no reason. There's no reason for her to do this.
Maybe she really loved Jeremy and she was sacrificing herself.
That's just, oh, maybe. It was. I laughed so hard.
I don't want to live like this. I don't want to live forever. So, yeah.
I laughed so hard at that because it's so nonchalant when she does it. She's not looking sad or the scream. Like, no, she just steps in it and then screams when she's belting. And I'm like, what is this death scene? Why?
That was vampire suicide is what that was.
Yeah, apparently, it was just a Romeo and Juliet without Romeo. Jesus. Now, again, you're probably saying to yourself, well, do all the vampires burn and they just get away? Joe and Jeremy get to, like, some barn with a bunch of equipment for farming, I guess. And they go out of their way to show that there's a coffin in the top loft. Why they do that, I couldn't tell you because it does not matter at all that there's a coffin there. Because Judge Axel comes in and they have one of the dumbest fights for a final battle because Joe just stabs him with some things and then he like struggles to wrestle Jeremy down even though he's supposedly the top master vampire. And then he gets back with Joe, and then Jeremy just stabs him with a flagpole, and that's the end of Judge Axel. And I went, but they showed a coffin in the top loft. Is there no one in that? What was the point of lingering on that? Oh, we're just done now. They're leaving. It's like, okay.
That's a possible sequel.
The sequel that never happened. Thank God.
Return again to Salem's Lot, you know? Rebuilding Salem's Lot.
So at this point, they run back into town for whatever, because apparently you're not going to stay in the barn, I guess. But now that the whole town's burning, the bus pulls into the middle of town, and it's Van Meer. He's not dead. And he just straight up says, oh, point a gun at yourself, pull the trigger, and fall down. Everyone thinks you shot yourself. And I went, yeah, because you were just dead center mass of your chest. Like, what do you mean? You didn't fake anything. You were just straight dead, sir.
Unless there's something they didn't explain. Maybe he knew which shot was maybe a blank, so he basically got hit with a wad and bled a little bit, you know. But
now you get it. This movie just doesn't explain anything that it's doing.
More fucking lives than a vampire.
Suicide's the Nazi sons of bitches.
Shoot me to play actor, Mr. Van Meer.
What the hell? Turn your back, shoot a gun, fall down. That's all there is to it. I'd have been here before, damn mangle.
But they take the bus, they escape, and that's the end of the movie. That's it. I thought they were lingering on the cows because in my brain I'm like, oh, are the cows vampires because they were biting the cows? Yeah. But they don't do anything with that either, and it just cuts to credits. So it's like, what? So that is Return to Salem's Lot, and that is how Paul wanted to start this season.
No, I wanted to make you suffer, and I did.
That one was really bad. I thought Bright Night, the remake, would be the worst vampire movie he'd make me sit through, and then I was proven wrong. I thought I did worse, and then he pulled this one out, so we're even. We're even on that now.
See, this started after he made me watch Uncle Sam with the exploding cannonballs, because cannonballs don't explode.
Well, it's just So yeah, that's Return to Salem's Lot. I mean, just go watch, as Paul said right at the beginning, just go watch the original TV miniseries Salem's Lot, because that is so much better than anything this movie did. I mean,
or even the remake of Salem's Lot did. Don't watch the recent remake. That one is just, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Hey, we have all the freedom of cable TV. We're going to make it with less violence than any TV movie you've ever seen. That'll be fun for a vampire movie.
Just sometimes. Well, folks, so to end out here, I just want to tell you all, you should go check out the second channel we have, which it'll pop up on screen, but in case you don't stay for that, Jokey's Gaming Void is what the channel's called. I post up gaming videos on there, but also I've started doing Solo Bad Taste, which I'm slowly trying to make sure that they're included in the playlist on this channel. It's just a slower process because all these just get posted right to the right playlist. So the solos, I have to manually go in and no, you got to add that one. But go check that out. Just Jokey Pants Has Bad Taste. I've done a couple there. I'm doing some more coming up. They're the movies. They're shorter reviews, so you don't have to sit through like these ones. They're just short, sweet, and they're all the movies that are so bad I can't make anyone else watch them with me. They're something else.
Plus, I told him if he did, I would find stuff worse than this. I did.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
And he doesn't want to chance. He knows
there might be.
He knows not to challenge me on that because he knows I will find shit.
There may be one or two. Who knows? I do know. I think the next one, by the time this comes out, I should have Snakeheaded Tear and Boa vs. Python up by the time this comes out. So go check those out. I covered everything before that. But if you really feel like it, if you enjoy this, give us a like and a comment. Comment whatever. I don't care what it is. I'll put it up somewhere on social and even say it on the show. I don't have any boundaries. It's the reason I'm doing Snakehead Terry. You commented on one old video saying you wanted that, and I finally found it. I'm going to do it. I remember that one. But you can follow us at OddcastN. You can follow Paul at CerebralPaul1 on Twitter. We also do streaming. You can follow Cerebral Paul over on Twitch. Is it just Cerebral Paul on Twitch?
Yep, it's just Cerebral Paul on Twitch.
Okay. Go to twitch.tv Cerebral Paul. We did Kiln earlier today at the time of this recording, and that was actually kind of fun. We're doing stuff like that. I've also got, I'm going to work on changing the name of it. We had a Twitch when we first started. It's WAOC stream with What an Oddcast. I'm going to try to change that. That was just, 8 years ago now is when we made that for some random things. So, but I've been doing streams over there, so you can check out those. If you're bored, go over to twitch.tv for those. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Remember the rules. Don't bury the dead under the road. Don't betray the puppets. I purposely bought this movie for this. Don't prank your friends as a serial killer. Which is Cry Wolf, one of the worst movies I've ever watched. That's saying something. Let's see. Don't put chemicals in the water. Don't bring things back from the dead, which we're already doing, so we're probably doomed there. Nobody watches enough horror movies. For this one,
if your friend is a redhead, he's probably a vampire. I'm just.
You know what? That's. You know what that means? Just stake him in his sleep. Bye, everyone.
Take him out in the sunlight, and if they burst into flame, you know why.
But stay hot, stay happy. We'll catch you on the next one. I don't know what the next one is, so we'll see what season 5 brings us. I would say more Wrong Turn, but Anthony has another baby coming in like a month, so. Wrong Turn will probably be on the back burner for a bit, but I'll work something out. Mike's got some ideas. See you all later. Bye-bye. This was really bad, Paul. this was so bad.
Yeah. Ah.
I expected like a sleeper, like maybe it won't be so bad. And then the more it went on, the worse it got. It just got worse.
I'm dead serious. I got worse. There's a couple like I'm keeping stored up. I got worse.
I swear to God, I might have to just get him out of you.